Welcome back to the 76 Capital Sports Leadership Show. My name is Wayne Kimmel, managing partner of 76 Capital, the sports tech venture capital company. And on this show, I get the opportunity to interview top sports entrepreneurs, executives, and athletes who are many times shaping and changing the overall sports industry. You can subscribe to our show on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on our 76 Capital website. Today, making his debut appearance on the 76 Capital Sports Leadership Show is Carlos Silva. I'm really excited about this show. It's going to be awesome today. He's joining 76 Capital as a partner and the new president of our 76 Capital Sports Advisory Agency. Here's a little bit of background on Carlos, and don't get too, embarrassed with some of the amazing things that you've done. But man, Carlos, it's amazing. You've such, extensive experience, deep industry relationships, and a proven track record of success all across the asset class of sports. Really excited for him to come on and really enhance our sports investment activities as well as our advisory capabilities. Carlos was the CEO of our portfolio company, C360. Many of you know that company as the Pylon Cam company, and he also helped sell that company to Cosm. He also held senior executive roles at Universal Sports Network, World Team Tennis, Park Lane, Professional Fighters League, Barrett-Jackson, and AOL Time Warner. Got to talk about that a little bit. And Carlos has degrees from Boston College and George Washington University. He played tennis at Boston College and, was also a pro tennis player. He played on the Pro Satellite Tour and has finished 13 Ironman races, and including 2 of them in Kona in the World Championships. Carlos, welcome to our 76 Capital Sports Leadership
Thanks, Wayne. Great to be here. Really great to be here.
So excited to have you here. So excited to have you as part of the team. Let's get started with that. What kind of, how did this all happen, and what kind of brought you to this point?
Well, you mentioned it. We were already kind of in the bunker together with C360. I jumped into the middle of a bit of maybe a difficult situation, middle of a cap raise. A CEO had left the business. Everyone loved these pylon cams. Everyone, we always tell people about them. Did you see the quarterback diving at the corner? Oh yeah, I've seen that all the time. It's like, well, that's us. And it was great to jump in. Great team in Pittsburgh. And look, we worked hard. We got a little lucky. We had a great investor in Cosm. And we ended up working through it. And it's great that we were able to take the team, move them over to Cosm. Cosm's got some great things coming too. And, they're launching their first site in Los Angeles, right behind SoFi Stadium. So, really excited for Jeb and the team there. And it was great because you and I, we had some spirited conversations. They weren't always easy. We were in a difficult situation, but we always managed through it. And we stayed friends. We kept working on some things together over the last couple of years. And so it's great to now, come in and see how I can help grow the business with you guys.
Well, we're really excited to have you. It's been great for you to get a chance to, spend time with our whole team, with Chad, with John, with Andre and Jack, and just everybody across the group is really excited to have you. So welcome. We're super excited because we're also excited, the fact that, we're going to be doing things, from the investment side of the business as well as our sports advisory agency and really taking that business to the next level. So I know this is going to be an exciting time for all of us.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting for me too, because as I've told, even my friends and family about the opportunity, for me, I'm actually going to the other side. I've been here at 76 Capital or a bunch of other VCs that look the same over the last 20 years, looking to raise money, whether it was, whatever entrepreneurial new league or new technology or that we were working on. And so now it's going to be great to take hopefully some of my knowledge from those last 20, 25 years and be on the other side and help some of these companies, not just with advisory, but understanding what we should invest in, where the trends are going. And like anything, you don't always know where the trends are going, but I've seen so many things over the last 25 years. Maybe there's some things that I'll know where they're not going. And so that can also help you to try and find get a better shot on goal.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about, really being able to sort of see what's next, be able to look around the corner, have a feel for, I think that, this is going to happen, right, and really find that amazing entrepreneur to get behind who can go make that happen.
Right.
Well, so let's talk about you a little bit and your career and your background. Before all of this, even before, are starting to get our opportunity to start to work together at C360. Talk about your career, and I guess it starts going all the way back to the AOL days, right?
Yeah. No, look, most people don't know. I mean, I've been a sports and media executive now for a long time, but I'm a little bit of a strange one because I have an undergraduate in business from Boston College, but then I have a master's in computer science. And most folks that are kind of in this space, they're either lawyers or they've done MBAs. But I actually started my career out, doing that master's degree and was doing like a lot of early device and interactive things when I was doing my master's degree. And so I was lucky enough to be at a little interactive television company when no one knew what interactive television was. And we ended up selling that company to Steve Case and AOL. Again, a very, could have gone either way, but we got a little bit of luck. Everyone at AOL was very excited about kind of the merging and convergence of media that was happening. I mean, this is 1998, so it's still really early. We're also, right in the middle of the cable heyday of the, MTVs and HBOs and CNNs and weather channels of the world. And we jumped in there and launched a lot of really cool products and did some things with, just amazing. I mean, so many of the people that were there from, Steve to, Ted, obviously, I remember when Ted bought the Capitals in 98 and he was still embedded in helping to run the whole business, got to sit and listen to Bob Pitt, give us overviews and get us excited. And I remember so many of the things that he told us around, do things today, don't wait till tomorrow. You can always fix them. And I still think of them every day when I'm trying to do things as an entrepreneur. And so it was a great university. I mean, guys like Greg Rigdon and Marcel Jenks that are here in town that are now, at Comcast running the show. I mean, we were all together working on AOL Sports and AOL News and some other products. So it was really a great time.
It's incredible. You think about 1998. That's 10 years before the iPhone came out.
That's right.
I mean, so when we talk about technology, we think about technology today. It's mobile, it's phones, it's everything's digital. But back then, we were really just talking about almost like what was happening on your computer.
Yeah, I mean, we put, the great product that AOL has. Everyone talks about Slack and everything now, but it's like AOL Instant Messenger was all of that. We put instant messaging on a BlackBerry pager, and you could actually take it mobile and do instant messaging before everyone was text messaging and doing stuff. And so it was wild. I mean, we got to stream, we streamed March Madness, we streamed the Masters, we did a huge concert in the park with Dave Matthews Band. I mean, we did stuff before anyone was kind of in this Netflix world that we live in now. So it was good university for sure.
Well, I mean, just on that point, right? So streaming then and streaming today. I mean, how much? I would say, how much easier is it today than ever as compared to what it was?
Oh, I mean, it's, flip a switch and you've got bandwidth. You've almost got bandwidth anywhere that you need to. Your iPhone on 5G works quite well. It was none of that. I mean, when we were doing these big streaming events from around the world in 2003 or 2004, thank goodness AOL had the best data center in the world and could handle a lot of people. I mean, we broke records with AOL Super Bowl commercials, which was like 40 million people watched the commercials the day after the Super Bowl in like 2003. And so that infrastructure was there, but it was hard. It's not like today where you just make it work and you plug a couple things in, you grab an eye, just like we're doing today. I mean, we've got this great studio set up with a Mac and a microphone, and you hit a button and you're ready to roll. So it's a lot of the same ideas, just 20 years later, and a little bit easier for sure.
Well, and you also throughout your career worked and run a number of leagues. What were some of the leagues that you worked with and ran, and what was some of those experiences?
Yeah, I mean, before the leagues, we actually launched a whole Olympic network called Universal Sports that was live streaming. We actually partnered with Bob Bowman, back when Major League Baseball Advanced Media was far and away the leader in everything. I mean, they led, Bob and, Kliakoff was there and that was also, I mean, I wish I had that network today, because we had a 24-hour live streaming network of all the Olympic World Championship sports in 07, 08. And, if we had it today, who knows? But, after that, I mean, went on to do a number of fun things. I mean, I jumped in. I got a call from my dear friend, Mike Stevens. Many of you may know Mike. He was the CMO of the New York Giants. He had just joined an early fighting league as a board member. And, I had looked at the UFC back in the day and tried to get AOL actually to invest in the UFC, but they said it was too bloody at the time. I remember John Miller went out to the fight and someone broke their nose. There was blood everywhere. He's like, we can't invest in the UFC. So, the like near misses that are super interesting. But yeah, I jumped in at World Series of Fighting, which was then, the pecking order was sort of UFC, Bellator, and World Series of Fighting. We built up World Series of Fighting and then ended up selling it to a group of AOL investors led by Don Davis, who was a friend and, someone that taught me a lot at AOL. Ted was in that deal and a bunch of other executives. And then we turned it into Professional Fighters League that's really gone on. And, Pete Murray and Don and all of them have sort of, nurtured and done some great things. It's not an easy space, but, they've now acquired Bellator, which is amazing, and really are there with the UFC trying to, build it up.
So you talk about building the league as if, you just build a league. Like what does that really mean? I mean, one of the big things is that we're going to be doing together here at 76 Capital, especially on our 76 Capital Sports Advisory Agency side, is we work with a lot of emerging leagues, whether it was highlight, whether it's, professional darts league, whether it is, the fishing league. I mean, all the things that we've done here. And we're talking about like, how we take this up another level. You've been there, you've done it, you've built these leagues from the ground up. What are some of the things, experiences, lessons learned that, we're going to be able to now do some special things with some of the companies that we work with here?
Yeah, you see all of them. I mean, another one that I was involved with, World Team Tennis, you see them and the core of them is what's great. Is it a great experience? Is the sport pure? Is it exciting? But like, it's only that little piece. Like, that's only one little piece. Like, then how are you going to distribute it so people know? It's a little bit like the forest that falls in the tree. If the tree falls in the forest, no one hears it. It's the same. Like, you could have the greatest, knockout or the greatest, the fastest serve in the world at a World Team 10, but if nobody knows about it, so how do you get the distribution? How do you find the right venues? How do you get the right athletes? What's the business model around building that league over the years? Because like any of these things, you don't flip the switch and in 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years ago, it takes time. And you got to really put all of those pieces together, and you got to learn how to sort of put them together in the right sequence so that you can raise capital and you don't run out of money, and you can keep it healthy, and you can get excitement, and you can get Sports Center to show a highlight and all of those things. And sometimes you got to get a little lucky, and sometimes you just have to work hard. It's maybe a combination of both.
What's the most fun part of all that, doing that, when you're creating and building and kind of taking these things from the beginning to?
Look, having been an athlete my whole life too, it's a little bit like you get to the starting line and, whether it's the gun going off to run, or it's the beginning of a match, or it's the clock, the buzzer starts the game, that's what live sports, it's very much the same. Everyone's got to play their position. You got to make sure that no matter what is happening behind the curtain, everything in front of the curtain on TV or in the arena looks great. And you just got to stay calm and composed and make sure that live window, whether it's an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours, is great. And there's a lot of competitive juice around that with all of your teammates, and how do you get the team together? And I remember years ago, I got lucky and worked with David Michaels, who was one of the great executive producers of the Olympics when I was at Universal Sports. And David would always have that morning meeting to get everyone together. But, I remember before we did some stuff at the Vancouver Games, and I remember being out at Pimlico and sitting in on one of his meetings for the horse race that he was doing there. And it's just like a great coach. He would come in and all the camera guys need to be on, the production guys, and what are we doing in the truck? And is our graphics package ready to go? And, we're going to walk the fighters in here, and what are we going to roll in? And what great features do we have? And it's just being a great orchestra leader so that you can make it all work. And the fans at home are like, oh my God, that was great. I can't wait till this is on again.
Well, I don't even have to ask you our normal question on our sports leadership show about being a leader. I mean, you just talked about all those types of things. I mean, and it's one of the reasons why, our team's so excited to be, working with you now and partnering with you on everything that we're doing, because, you have this experience. You've led teams who have gone on and when the lights come on, right? You just got to make it work, right?
And it's it's really true. I mean, I know we all like to use the phrase that Mike Tyson gave to all of us, which is everyone's got a plan until you get punched in the face. But it's really true, and it's especially true in live sports. We experienced this in the with the Pylon company with C360. I mean, most people don't know, but there were times, and I remember even in the Super Bowl, there was a moment where like one of the pylons went down. And most people may or may not remember, the kneel down at the end of the game when Kansas City won to keep the clock rolling. That was captured by our technology in C360's pylon. And at a moment in that game, we had to run someone out of the truck. James, thank goodness he's a good runner, because it was a long run and he had to run down and into the tunnel and get to the field and unplug a pylon and plug it back in because something wasn't working, whatever happened. But, it's like you got to make it work, and it's exciting and it's scary, but when it works, it's magical.
It's incredible. I mean, it's a great word. And it's one of the things that, a lot of times we talk about with our entrepreneurs, and, the magic that they create by using the latest and greatest technology, thinking about things differently. And so, one of the things that I really wanted to hear from you really was like thinking about how you think about how now on this side of the table, have this opportunity to work with such incredibly smart people who are doing amazing things, and being able to share, some of your knowledge with them, and what that's going to be like. And have you thought about that a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, it's why I'm doing it. I mean, I think it's exciting. I mean, as we all know, most of these early stage companies, sometimes what business they think they're in, they're not always in that business. And sometimes their success comes from some other offshoot, or the combination of two things they've got, or maybe someone that Wayne knows combining with them ends up making it, really roll. So I'm excited about trying to think through some of them, because sometimes when you're an early stage company, you're super passionate, excited. Sometimes you can't see anything else, and if we can help them to sort of open up the aperture a little bit, then you might see a couple of extra things, and that might lead to a success earlier or down a road that maybe none of us saw. So I'm excited about trying to help with that.
Yeah, I mean, look, you've been in sports pretty much your whole career, right? I mean, everything that you've done. And so how important are relationships across the sports industry?
I mean, it's everything. And what's funny about it now that I've been around for, quite a while, is, you just like buddies of yours when you were a manager or director in a cubicle, at Yahoo, or, at AOL, or at NBC, now they're, presidents or CEOs of divisions, or they've become, head of NBC Sports, or the chairman of NBC Sports, in the case of a guy like, Mark Lazarus, who we've known, going way back to the day, and he's always been great. And he's been great because, you treat people well, you treat them fairly, you return their emails, you help them and it may not pay back right away, but 5 years later, when you need something and you make a call, they return your call, they make a connection for you. And we're all doing that. And I think the sports industry it's amazingly positive in that regard. And you see it over and over again. It's competitive because we're all competitive, but it's not competitive so that we want to tear anyone else down. It's competitive to try and continue to build why sports is great. That's how it feels to me.
So what makes the opportunity of being the president of our 76 Capital Sports Advisory Agency so exciting for you? What are some of the things that you're thinking about? And in a perfect world, like what would that kind of look like? And what are we building towards in the future here?
Yeah, just look at, I think at this stage where, where I've been, it's how can you jump in to help, a CEO or an investment group or a board, a chief revenue officer to unlock a couple of things that they just can't, I mean, look, if they're 28 years old or 31 years old, it's not like complicated. They just haven't seen what we've seen. And if we can, if they're talking to someone who's a director and we can get them to a president, the difference between they might have gotten there themselves, but it might have taken them 60 days or 90 days. And that might unlock other pathways. So I'm just excited about trying to help them see things and accelerate their businesses by bringing some of the knowledge and also some of the teammates that I've had, being able to bring some of those teammates in. And I'm very thankful that I've got so many teammates from, production, sales, streaming, social media, graphics, design, just operations, all of those things, and try to bring some of those resources to bear, whether it's just making a phone call and having someone help me or bringing them into the advisory group to help people.
I mean, one of the guys that really helped bring us together was Rick Alessandri, right? Over at Turnkey ZRG. I mean, guy knows everybody, such a good guy, helpful in a lot of things that we do here at 76 as well. And, one of the conversations that we have a lot, whether it's with him or his partner, Len Perna and all the things that they're doing, I mean, there's a lot of disruption, right? There's a lot of pieces moving. People are moving, from a human capital perspective, people are moving around. There's the leagues, the professional leagues themselves are in a flux, and the amount of money that's coming in, just the valuations are going crazy. What's happening in college? I mean, it's like the wild, wild west in college. Yeah. Youth sports is crazy right now. Yes. So when you think about all the different levels of sports and all the different things that all these movements and all these things that are happening, where do we come in and all that? Where do you think we can come in and really play an interesting role as all that's happening?
Before I answer that, I think it's interesting. So Rick, I've known Rick forever. So the company that we sold to AOL, Net Channel, which started that interactive TV, which launched the AOL TV service, which was a product that we had, I bought sports ticker data from Rick in New Jersey because we needed to create a live feed on our set-top box that would be personalized and do all these cool things, that obviously we can all do now. And so Rick, from Rick to sports ticker to ESPN to Univision and a few places in between, we've always stayed connected. And so, yeah, it was great when Rick called me. He's like, hey, we're looking for someone to join C360. And so it's funny just how the circles close. But I just think, the way that we can, again, I think it's all about those connections. And if I don't have the connections, maybe Rick has a connection or any of the other people that are part of our network that just can continue to elevate and accelerate and make all these businesses, succeed. And then maybe 76 Capital invests in them. Maybe they don't. Maybe we're taking them to people that fit, a different fund based on the advisory stuff that we're doing. It's all about trying to help them win.
Absolutely. I mean, look, you mentioned it earlier about your background in technology. You see today how tech, data, and analytics are playing such an important role in the overall sports ecosystem today. I mean, it must be like there's a reason why I went and got that degree, But I mean, what are some of the things you sort of think about and see like how tech and data and analytics have really moved the industry forward?
Well, I mean, it's part of my daily life. I mean, I got on I have an Oura ring and I sort of live by my Oura ring, and it told me that I slept well last night. So even if I wasn't sure that I did, it told me that I did. And I just think it just continues with everything we do. I mean, if I go for a run every morning, I'm tracking what I'm doing. I'm trying to track it against where my heart rate is. And that's just like regular guy, just a regular guy that's out trying to stay young by working out. But then as you accelerate it up to, the junior youth level, and then you take it to the college level, and then you take it to, the pro level and the Olympic level and everything. It's like every little bit matters. I was watching the Olympic trials from Indianapolis the other night, and I've been lucky to be part of.
Hang on a second. With Olympic trials, that pool in the middle of the state,
insane. But also, like, it's like you go. I mean, other than Katie Ledecky, who just is incredible, and she just like blows everyone away. It's like the little bit that matters. I don't know if a coach can see someone to push a stroke that gives them another tenth. That's the difference between making the Olympic team, and then then you start thinking about, like, you saw all these great athletes in Indianapolis. Then they got to compete against all the great athletes around the world. Someone from Italy, and someone from Australia, and someone from wherever. And tech matters, because tech is going to give them the ability to do something that's going to help them win a gold medal. And so I think it just continues. I don't think it stops. I mean, look, if I could take my Oura ring and get a chip implanted and not have to charge, I'd do it. Like, why not? It would tell me about how I'm performing. And as we all get older, we want to try and keep doing what we're doing and stay fit. And I just think there's going to be all kinds of interesting things that continue.
And a lot of the things that we invest in here at 76 Capital, we're trying to, in many cases, bring the high level tech that the professionals use today. Some of the things you're describing, right, or at the Olympic level, but bring that down to the youth level and enable anyone and everyone to have an opportunity to have access to this great stuff.
Right. Yeah. I remember back to AOL for a second. I remember AC Milan came over and visited us because they wanted to do some stuff in the States. And at that time, AOL was, they were like we were the Google of the time. So they all wanted to come over and see what we were doing. And you just take all the tech that they were doing over in Italy, and now you look at all of the teams and all the leagues, and you look at the UFC Performance Center, and you look at all of these amazing elevations of where we are and how it helps with injury. The other day, we were all sorry to see that Djokovic hurt his knee, but then 3 days later, I saw on Instagram that he's in the gym and he's already moving and he's on machines, and that's because we've got great tech that understood that he didn't need to have his whole knee cut open. They just went in and did whatever cleanup they needed to. And who knows, maybe he's I don't think he's going to be at Wimbledon, but maybe he's at the US Open because of it in September, end of August. So it's important. And, recovery is critical. From an entertainment value, we want to see these athletes more. From a media rights perspective, we need them to be on the field. No one wants, no one wants Messi to skip a game if that's the game that you're going to, or the game that you're watching on, you tune in and you're like, oh, Messi's not playing, I'm not going to watch. So right. All of those things feed into why it's so important in the ecosystem of sports and revenue and how it all gets monetized.
I mean, has there been a moment in your career or something that you're like, wow, that was so unbelievable? Or is it what's coming next?
There's been a few funny ones. There's been, some amazing ones. I mean, we did some amazing early streaming stuff. We got to stream the par 3 at the Masters before the Masters was ever even thinking about letting anyone do anything.
About some of your tennis things. I mean, like, you're such a tennis guy. You know everything about what's going on in that world. I mean, there's some things that you just.
Look, we had an incredible moment. I had 2 incredible tennis moments, at least for me professionally, when we were one of only a league other than the NBA that got through COVID. We did a successful bubble at the Greenbrier. We brought all of these athletes. Fred Luddy, who was our owner then, let us send some money to these athletes because they weren't making any money to get them through. And then we brought them into Greenbrier. The Greenbrier was great. We tested like 1,000 times. We had, not any positive tests, and we were able to get through a really great season, record numbers on CBS for the first time ever. So it was great. I mean, I also got very lucky working at the Citi Open, and we brought Rafa to town for the first time ever and had record numbers, with Rafa, and just getting to beat Rafa was just special. as one of the all-time great athletes. I mean, the things that he's done, and so there's things like that yeah, you don't forget. But I tell you, the one that wasn't sports related that was probably the craziest, coolest one. Because I was doing so much streaming stuff at AOL Sports, I actually got called by Kevin Conroy to help out with the Dave Matthews Band live concert on the lawn, on the Great Lawn in New York City, and I helped to produce it. And I was part of the team, and they had one of the hosts. It was a Saturday Night Live host, bowed out and didn't show up, and we were back in their trailers, kind of hanging out, waiting. There's 100,000 people on the Great Lawn, and Dave said, hey, Carlos, can you go check what's going on out front? Because they were still kind of hanging out and getting ready and having a few drinks and just getting ready for this big show. And I ended up walking out of the trailer in the back, out onto the stage, and up towards the mic, in the front, and all these people stood up because they thought the concert was starting. And for just like 5 seconds, I was like, now I understand what it must be like to be a rock star, because this is insane. And I just kind of, like waved to the crowd and like tapped the mic and turned and let it back. And I went back to the trailer and said, guys, everyone's ready to go. But it was just a moment that I'll never forget, because it was really quite a sea of people. It was cool.
I thought you were going to tell me that you started singing.
Oh yeah, well, no, I can't do that, but it was fun.
But you can do a lot of other things, and we're really excited about all the things that we're going to be doing here, at 76 Capital together. I mean, it's awesome. And as I said before, we are really excited to welcome you to our 76 Capital family, our overall team here. And, it's really, as we always say, the sort of the sky's the limit, as to what we can do, what we will do. One of the things that we talk about all the time is that there's really no real wrong answer. We try a lot of different things. We try to help our companies in every way that we can. And we try to, just make this industry even bigger and better. I mean, when this asset class of sports, this industry of sports, which is something that, we've been talking about for a while and saying like it's coming, but now to see the industry in bright lights on CNBC, in the Wall Street Journal, in Barron's, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan. I mean, everybody's talking about how do you get into sports, and we're in the middle of all that. And it's really exciting to have you with us going after this opportunity together. And, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have you back a bunch on this show. We're going to talk about all the things that we've been doing.
Yeah, we got to do more and bring everybody into it, and figure out who else we can help, because I'm excited about the team and the time, really. I mean, it's the next 3 to 5 years is another great moment in time for sports and media. It's amazing.
It really is, and that's the thing. And so, as we always say on our show, like, we want to hear from you. We want to talk with you. We want to see if there are opportunities for us to think about, looking at as a potential investment in your company, where we can help your company. We've got a great team of people that we want to be able to see what we can do with you. And now we got Carlos. So this is good stuff. This is really great. So thanks again for doing the show. And
happy to do it.
We'll get you back here soon.
Yeah, thanks for everything, Wayne.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us on this edition of our 76 Capital Sports Leadership Show, and hope everyone has a great day.